What's good, NBA family, and welcome back to another video. Happy NBA playoffs. I always say this, best time of the year. Today is Monday, May 20th, and just yesterday we saw two electrifying game sevens. We saw the Knicks and the Pacers, which the Pacers ended up winning, and we saw the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, which the Timberwolves ended up playing immaculate defense and ended up winning that game, sending them to the Western Conference Finals. But in this video, y'all, we're going to get into all that and much more. We're going to talk about every game, every series, who won, how did they get it done, and at the end of the video, I will give you guys my predictions for the Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals. So stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into it, man. So we're going to start with the Celtics and Cavs series. This was the shortest series of all the ones that we had. The Celtics won in 5 games. They won 4-1, gentleman sweep. And honestly, you guys, like the Celtics might for real have one of the easiest road to the finals that I've seen in a long time, which could be good because, you know, they're not going to be as exhausted, but it can also be bad because we have yet to see the Celtics truly have their backs against the wall, truly actually be challenged. And we need to see how they're going to respond when they have their backs against the wall. Because, I mean, look, like I really like the Celtics when you just look at them in totality, right? They have the best defensive backcourt in the league. On defense, they can switch 1 through 5. They have 2 wings in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown who can compete with the best of them. They can really play any type of offense. They can run ISOs. They can run pick and rolls with Kristaps when he plays. Pick and pops with Kristaps when he plays. Kristaps is a 7-footer who can shoot the 3. But like I said, y'all, the only thing that scares me about the Celtics is the fact that they just simply have not been challenged yet, y'all. And we don't know how they're going to respond when they have been challenged. But right here in this video, what we're going to talk about, or in this little section of the video, we're going to talk about that Cavs and Celtics series. And for that series, they dominated. And they didn't even have to have their backs against the wall. They averaged more points, more rebounds, more assists, more blocks, shot a better field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and 3-point percentage than the Cavs. They outright just dominated them. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to see the Cavs healthy. I mean, no Jared Allen all series. Key role players like Georges Niang, Dean Wade, Marcus Morris Sr., they missed a couple of games. But most importantly, Donovan Mitchell misses game 4 and 5. Karis LeVert also misses game 5. Go win or go home situation. So we didn't get to see him at full health, but let's get into game 1, man. Game 1, the Celtics won 120-95. This was Jaylen Brown's game. He finished this game with 32 points, shot 67% from the field and a 3-point line. He had it going from the 3. He hit 4 3-pointers, but he wasn't the only one, man. Derek White, he hit 7 3-pointers, had 25 points. Peyton Pritchard came off the bench and gave the Celtics a solid 16 points. He hit 4 3-pointers. And, I mean, the Celtics at one point in this game had a 26-point lead, and this was really one of those blowout games. Jason Tatum didn't even really have to apply that pressure. He only finished the game with 18 points, 11 rebounds. And on the Cavs side of things, besides Donovan Mitchell, who ended up scoring 33 points, the Cavs got little to no help for Donovan Mitchell, which is going to make him think when that contract expires, do I really want to be here? Because check this out, man. Besides Donovan Mitchell, nobody scored more than 18 points. As a team, they went 11 from 42 from the 3-point line. If you just combine Jaylen Brown and Derek White, or even Derek White and Peyton Pritchard, those 2 guys hit more 3-pointers than the entire Cavs did in that first game. So game 1 was a blowout. Game 2, the Cavs won. They tied up the series 1-1. They won 118-94, and it was the total opposite of game 1. You know how when people talk about the Celtics, they talk about the fact that they live and die on the 3-point line? Well, this game, they died. As a team, they went 8 of 37 from the 3-point line. Derek White, who just hit 7 3-pointers in the previous game, he only hit 1 this game. Jaylen Brown, he went off last game. He went over 6 from the 3-point line. Peyton Pritchard, who just hit 4 big 3-pointers last game, he goes 1 of 4. Jason Tatum, 2 of 5. And for the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell, he ended up leading the way with 29 points, shot 71% from the 3-point line, 52% from the field. But in my opinion, y'all, the MVP of this game was none other than Evan Mobley, man. Finished the game with 21 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, and shot 60% from the field. But the reason why he was the MVP, y'all, is because he was getting it done on both ends. I mean, offensively, I just read out the numbers, 21 points. He was cleaning the glass, had 10 rebounds. But he was a defensive presence that, honestly, the 2 blocks that he had, the numbers don't do justice. He was guarding everyone, everything. If you were on the perimeter, he was on you. If you were on the low block, he was on you. And he was taking care of just everything on the defensive end, making it tough for the Celtics to be able to finish around the rim. And then on offense, y'all, those 5 assists that he had, they were all big-time crucial assists. I mean, he was really playing like a hub. And when I say hub, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, think of like Sabonis. You get the ball at the top, and you kind of, are running those DHO handoffs where you're kind of, the center, the hub of everything. That's why they call it the hub. And also, credit to Caris LeVert, because in Game 2, he did come off the bench, and in 26 minutes had 21 points. And that's really why it hurt so bad that they lost him in Game 5. But let's keep it pushing, y'all. Game 3, I was really excited to see how the Celtics will respond. You know why? Because this is the most challenged that they've been, right? Most backs up against the walls that they've been. And I love the way that they respond, man. I'm talking about you get 29 points and 9 rebounds from Jaylen Brown, and you get 33 points, 13 rebounds from Jason Tatum. Donovan Mitchell did what he did. Again, put up 33 points, trying to put the team on his back, but his teammates once again let him down. Evan Mobley was the next highest scorer with 17 points. Darius Garland, man. Darius Garland just simply did not step up as the number 2 guy. He is supposed to be Donovan Mitchell's Alfred. He's supposed to be Donovan Mitchell's Robin. And where is he at? Honestly, for most of this series, he disappeared. And in this Game 3, he put up a dud, only 15 points, and went 1 of 6 from the three-point line. And honestly, y'all, simply put, the Celtics' big 2 was just too much for the Cavs here in that Game 3. And then we move here to Game 4, man. No Donovan Mitchell. And this is when, honestly, the series really starts to go downhill, because no Donovan Mitchell. And the reason why it's so important that he's missing a game, I mean, he is not only your best player, is because coming into this game, you're already down 2-1. So this game is kind of a must win, because if you don't win this game, now you're putting yourselves in a situation to go down 3-1. And honestly, y'all, that's what ended up happening. The Celtics won 109-102. And I mean, I'll give credit to the Cavs, because they did a great job staying in this game with no Donovan Mitchell throughout the game. They dominated the paint. They had 44 points in the paint. This is one of those games where Darius Garland actually stepped up. He had 30 points. LeVert, he came off the bench big time. He had 19 points. Evan Mobley, he's been big the entire series so far. He had 19 points. And Max Strus kept them in this game for the first half, y'all. He had 15 points in that first half, went 5 of 7 from the three-point line, and then came the second half, really, especially the fourth quarter, where the Cavs just go on an absolute scoring drought, y'all. Scoring drought. And 2 experienced players like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they recognized that, put the foot on the necks of the Cavs. Jason Tatum ended up finishing the night with 33 points, 11 rebounds. Jaylen Brown, 27, 8 rebounds. And you know how I told y'all it's so huge that Donovan Mitchell missed this game? Because in a scoring drought, that's exactly where Donovan Mitchell could have came through. And he could have came through and saved the Cavs from going down 3-1. But instead, this series ended up kind of being over, because we all know there's only been one team to come back from 3-1. And then, here comes Game 5. No Caris LeVert, because he gets hurt. No Donovan Mitchell. Still no Jared Allen. We knew what was going to happen, man. I mean, credit to Evan Mobley, who finished with 33 points. Marcus Morris had 25. And notice how I did not mention anything about Darius Garland, because he couldn't hit. He couldn't hit at all. He finished the night with 11 points, went 0 of 4 from the three-point line, and 4 of 17 from the field. And the Celtics ended up closing it out in real Celtics fashion, man. All right, y'all, moving on to the next series, and that is the Pacers versus the Knicks. The the Pacers ended up winning in 7 games. And honestly, I was really interested about this series because I wanted to see who would control the tempo of the game. Because, I mean, the Pacers have a insanely fast pace that they play at. They play at the fastest pace in the NBA. And the Knicks like to play slow, like to play in the half-court set. So I was really interested to see who controlled the tempo for the series. And I knew whoever could control the tempo, that's who would end up winning the series. And that's what the Pacers did exactly, man. I mean, over time, we did see that the Pacers' fast-paced offense ended up tiring out the Knicks, who was already hurt with injuries before even coming into the playoffs. I mean, Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson being out, and then after Game 2, OG Anunoby ends up going out. Game 7, as we all know, Jalen Brunson ends up fracturing his hand. This team was just too hobbled to be able to do anything. And, you know, you want to blame Tom Thibodeau because you're like, man, you're running your players into the ground. You know, Josh Hart has played most minutes in the NBA since All-Star break. I know he played I think in this series, played 3 games where he played all 48 minutes. Jalen Brunson as well. But at the end of the day, we can't really blame him because the Knicks had so many injuries. They didn't have much else to work with. But let's get into the series, man. Let's talk about Game 1. Game 1, the Knicks won 121-117. And the first thing I noticed was that it seemed like at first the Knicks were cool with playing with this fast pace. Get out and go to the other end. Go on the other end. Take out the ball from the basket. Boom, outlet. Let's go down court. And it's crazy that they were willing to do that because the Knicks only run a rotation that's 7 deep. They run their starters and then maybe 2 or 3 players off the bench. And in Game 1, they only had 2 players off the bench. But the starters was all they needed in this Game 1. Jalen Brunson, 43 points. Dante DiVincenzo, 25. Josh Hart, 24 points, 13 rebounds. OG Anunoby, 13 points. Isaiah Hartenstein, 13 points. Their 2-man bench only provided 3 points. So as you can see, it was all about the starters in this game. And on the Pacers side of things, it was kind of the opposite, right? They had 46 points off the bench, and all their starters actually scored in double digits except their best one, Tyrese Halliburton, man. Tyrese Halliburton. This series was an emotional roller coaster with Tyrese Halliburton. In Game 1, y'all, he plays 36 minutes and has 6 points, 8 assists. But it's not even my issue with that is not even the 6 points because it's you know what? Sometimes your shots don't fall. It's the fact that he wasn't aggressive, y'all. He went 2 of 6 from the field and 2 of 5 from the 3-point line. That means he took 6 shots, 6 twos, and he took 5 threes as the best player who played 36 minutes. TJ McConnell played 22 minutes and is not nearly the player that Tyrese Halliburton is and took 16 shots. Andrew Nembhard played 29 minutes and is not nearly the player that Halliburton is and took 10 shots. Tyrese Halliburton is at least got to get him up there and it's at least got to be aggressive. He disappeared in this Game 1 and that ended up being the recipe for disaster. Game 2, the Knicks also won, taking a 2-0 lead in the series. They won 130-121. Credit to Tyrese, though, because he did bounce back in this game, had 34 points, 9 assists, took the most shots on the team, but it again wasn't enough to stop the red-hot starters of the Knicks. 29 from Brunson, 28 from Dante DiVincenzo, 28 from OG, 14 from Isaiah Hartenstein, 19 points and 15 rebounds from Josh Hart. And this was a close game until about the third quarter, where the Knicks just honestly blew the Pacers out the water, outscoring them 36-18. And then I just want to make a quick note, y'all, that Josh Hart played all 48 minutes these first 2 games. And then here comes Game 3. Game 3, Pacers ended up winning 111-106. And this is the game where actually everything starts to go downhill for the Knicks, y'all, because remember I told y'all Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson's been out, right? Even before the series even starts. Now OG goes out as well. OG Anunoby, he gets injured. He goes out. And for the Pacers, they make a big-time adjustment. They put Aaron Nesmith on Jalen Brunson instead of Andrew Nembhard because Andrew Nembhard was just absolutely getting worked. And Nesmith was all over Brunson, man. Didn't give him any space, didn't allow him to even get to his spots. And honestly, that amazing defense that Aaron Nesmith and the Pacers were able to play in that game 3 is what kind of dictated the tempo and allowed them to be able to play at their tempo, man. And it was around this game where the Knicks looked like they were finally starting to be a little bit uncomfortable playing at such a fast pace that the Pacers play at. Nesmith really had Jalen Brunson in a jacket in that first half. Jalen Brunson only had 10 points. But Dante DiVincenzo, he was coming through. He was saving the day like multiple times he did in this series. He was on fire from the three-point line. He finished that night with 35 points. And the Pacers, honestly, they got away with this one because they did not do a good job of denying him the ball, of doubling him. Even when he had 30+, they were still just letting him shoot it out there and paying attention to Jalen Brunson, which I understand, but you have to be able to make adjustments as the game go on. Knicks go on a 10-0 run at the end of the third quarter, but that means nothing because the fourth quarter is where the game changed. Pacers go on an 11-1 run in the end of the fourth quarter. Score was tied 106, 17 seconds left. Andrew Nembhard hits the biggest three-pointer of his career, a deep three-pointer to put them up by 3, and then the Knicks have to end up fouling, and the Pacers end up winning this game. They win 111-106. Game 4 was an absolute blowout, man. The Pacers won 121-89. This game, honestly, there isn't much you need to know about this game. The Pacers outscored the Knicks 36-14 in that first quarter. Never lost a lead after that. I mean, this was just one of those days where it just wasn't going in for the Knicks. They shot 7 of 37 from the three-point line. And then here comes game 5, man. Knicks have a big bounce-back game. They control the tempo. They win 121-91. They were able to play in that half-court set. They finally were able to slow the Pacers down. Jalen Brunson was absolutely abusing Nembhard, and I honestly felt bad for him. I mean, Jalen Brunson finished the night with 44 points, and almost all of those 44 points came on Nembhard, and I low-key blame the Pacers for that because you've seen in Game 3 that you need to keep Aaron Nesmith on Jalen Brunson. But what do? They didn't really give that effort to keep Aaron Nesmith on him. Like Jalen Brunson would run a lot of pick and rolls, or he'd run off a lot of screens to be able to get the switch that's most favorable to him. And what the Pacers and Aaron Nesmith should have been doing is fighting over screens, jumping screens, doing whatever they need to do to make sure that it's not Nembhard guarding Brunson and that it's Nesmith. But they did not do that. Knicks go on a 17-0 run in the third quarter, end up honestly opening this game wide up and winning. And Tyrese Halliburton, for the second time in the series, he disappeared, y'all. Played 35 minutes, took 9 shots. TJ McConnell, who was great in this series, not taking nothing away from him, but he played half the minutes that Tyrese played and took 8 shots. Tyrese was not getting blitz, was not getting double. He just simply was not aggressive enough, and that led the Pacers to losing that game. And then here comes Game 6, man. Game 6, Pacers get a big-time win. This is an elimination game for the Pacers. Win or go home. And they just did a great job, man, on defense. Jalen Brunson had his worst first half all playoff long, y'all. All playoff long, he had his worst first half. He had 5 points, was 2 of 13 from the field, and 0 of 3 from the three-point line. And the Pacers honestly decided that they were going to abuse the Knicks inside the paint. No Mitchell Robinson. That means the paint opens up. At halftime, they had 40 points in the paint and ended the game with 62 points in the paint, y'all. But the real story of this game was the fact that Josh Hart left this game, middle of the game, with an abdominal injury. The Knicks are already facing the injuries of OG Anunoby, of Julius Randle, of Mitchell Robinson, and now Josh Hart goes down. And this is when people talk about Tom Thibodeau run his players into the ground. His players just simply couldn't do it anymore. They couldn't do it anymore. This was just way too much, and they started to go down. Here comes Game 7, and credit to OG Anunoby because he actually came out and played the first 5 minutes. He tried all he could, but that left calf strain was just too much. He had to leave the game after those first 5 minutes. And then the Pacers came out on fire, y'all. When I say on fire, I mean on fire. I have not seen a team play this well in a very long time, y'all. They had 39 points in the first quarter. As a team, they only missed two three-pointers in that entire first quarter. They went 16 of 21 from the field. They shot 76% from the field, y'all. 76% from the field. Tyrese Halliburton. People were talking about the lights might be too bright from him. Is he gonna disappear like he did in the other 2 games in this series? Nope, he does not disappear. He has 14 points in the first quarter. He hits 4 3-pointers. The Pacers could just do absolutely no wrong in the first half, y'all. 70 points, 76% from the field, 66% from the three-point line. They went 8 of 12 from the three-point line. And Jalen Brunson and the Knicks just looked absolutely gassed, man. Jalen Brunson at halftime, I was very disappointed in him. Only had 12 points, was not being aggressive enough. And that injury to Josh Hart, y'all, must have been killing him because for whatever reason, I just didn't notice Josh Hart out there. And this was the first time that I felt like that the entire series long. Every game in this series prior to this game, I was like, man, I can visibly see the impact that Josh Hart is making with all these double rebounds, with hitting these threes, with doing all this, doing all that, diving on loose balls. But this game, it just looked like he was just another one of the guys out there, man. And then at halftime, the Knicks were down by 15. They go on a 12-0 run, start of the third quarter, to bring this game within single digits. They make a couple of dumb mistakes the next couple times down court. Boom. Pacers run off another run. Lead goes to 12 points again, and the Pacers never end up losing that lead. Jalen Brunson fractures his hand in the fourth quarter. He ends up leaving. This game is over. The Pacers shot 54% from the three-point line and 67% from the field as a team. I'm going to be honest here, y'all. The Knicks are the better team. But the Pacers play the better game. And guess what? This was a Game 7. It all came down to one game. And if you can have just a better game in Game 7, you move on. So that's exactly what happened, man. All right, let's keep it pushing, y'all, and let's get to the Western Conference Series, which was the Denver Nuggets going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. We got the defending champions going up against the young guys, the young buckos, the next one's up, man. And wow, this was an amazing, I was going to say immaculate, that's why I said an immaculate series, man. One of my favorite series I have seen in a long time, y'all. Very back and forth, great offense, great defense, and sometimes, you know what, man? Defense actually can win you championships because that's what ended up happening in this series. That's how the Minnesota Timberwolves ended up winning this series, was their lockdown defense. But this series was one that really surprised me, y'all. I mean, we seen the super cool Denver Nuggets, the super cool Jamal Murray losing his cool and throwing a freaking ice pack holder on the court. We seen Denver win 2 games in Minnesota, but we also seen Minnesota win 2 games in Denver. So it was just everywhere, man. Let's get into it. I'm super excited to talk about this one. Game 1, the Timberwolves did win 106-99. This was my guy versus your guy. Anthony Edwards versus Jokic. Anthony Edwards had 43 points, 7 rebounds, shot 58% from the field and 42% from the three-point line. Jokic had 32 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. But the question then becomes, okay, if it's my guy versus your guy, who else is going to step up? For the Timberwolves, it was Karl-Anthony Towns. He had 20 points. For the Nuggets, it was MPJ. He also had 20 points. So where's the difference maker in this game, John? You may be asking yourself that, and I'm going to answer it. Naz freaking Reid. 14 points in that fourth quarter, only missed 1 shot the entire fourth quarter. You know who else was a difference maker? Mike Conley. 14 points, 10 assists. A true, genuine, floor general. He was out there running the team like a true old-fashioned point guard. And I don't think that Anthony Edwards would have been able to have the 43 points that he had if it was not for Mike Conley running the team the way he was running. And also, the biggest difference maker in this game, I think, was the elite defense and the pressure that Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels were putting on the Denver Nuggets, but especially on Jamal Murray, man. Oh my goodness, y'all. This defense that I seen in games 1 and 2 just showed me what top tier NBA level defense is and should be, y'all. That right there, if you want to go see a team just absolutely shut another team down, go watch games 1 and game 2. And if you want to see a team that's very elite and players understands their role, Go watch the Timberwolves in game 1 and 2 because Jaden McDaniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker both played over 20 minutes. And guess what? They both combined for 5 points, but their impact on this game was huge. Most players would complain if they were playing over 20 minutes and were barely getting up shots. But these two guys understand their role, and that's what showed me that this team is very, very elite, like maybe even championship level elite, because they understand their roles. You get two players like that, Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Jaden McDaniels, who just are perfectly content with just playing defense. Just playing defense and doing a great job at it, man. Timberwolves end up shocking the Denver Nuggets in Denver, which is crazy, by stealing game 1 on the road, and which is crazy because Denver hasn't lost on the road. I mean, Denver hasn't lost at home in the playoffs, I think, in like the last 2 years or something. But let's get to game 2 because game 2 got even crazier. The Timberwolves once again won, taking a 2-0 lead. They took a lead. They won 106-80. Rudy Gobert ends up missing this game for the birth of his son, which I absolutely agree with. Hey, man, that's your child, especially your firstborn. So I thought the Nuggets definitely had this game in the bag. But, man, me and the rest of the world were just wrong because we all thought the Nuggets had the game in the bag. No defensive player of the year? Yeah, of course your team's going to drop off. Nope, that's not what happens. The Timberwolves have suffocated. They suffocated. Like literally suffocated the life out of the Denver Nuggets, y'all. I have never seen the Denver Nuggets this frustrated. Game 1 was elite defense, but game 2 was on another level. Another level. Jamal Murray was held to 8 points. He was getting picked up full court, getting blitzed on pick and rolls, getting doubled. He was so pissed. Like I said in the beginning when I talked about the series, he threw a damn ice pack holder on the court. He didn't even know what to do. He was acting out of character, acting out. That's not the way he acts, y'all. That's not how Jamal Murray is. But that's how the Timberwolves had him acting because of that suffocating defense. This realistically, y'all, might be one of the best defense I have seen in a long time. Like, this might be one of the best defense I have seen a team play in a game. And remember, this was against the defending champions. In game 2, they held everyone on the Nuggets under 20 points, including the 3-time NBA MVP. Let me say that again, y'all. This was the best defense I have ever seen from a team in the playoffs. They held everybody on the Nuggets in game 2 under 20 points, including the 3-time NBA MVP. Do you guys understand how much elite defense you have to have? Do you guys understand that Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, was not there for game 2? Naz Reid slips right in. No defensive drop-off. Do y'all understand how impressive that is? For you to lose a defensive player of the year for that game and you have no defensive drop-off. That's elite. That's championship level defense. And they end up winning game 2, y'all. They end up winning game 2. And I was so shook because now they took the first 2 games on the road. And here comes game 3, y'all. Here comes game 3. And game 3, I knew the Nuggets had to win because I was like, there's no way the Nuggets are about to go down 3-0 right now. And in the first 2 games, y'all, I think that the big reason why the Timberwolves were able to be so dominant is because they had Jamal Murray contained. Wasn't going anywhere. Blitzing him, double him. Like, he had nowhere to go in those first 2 games. Game 3, that changes, though. That changes because Jamal Murray now starts to be a little bit more aggressive on the offensive end and looks to score. He finished his game with 24 points, and a big part of him being able to score that 24 points was the adjustment that the Nuggets made. The adjustment that they made was instead of Jamal Murray bringing the ball up court and him getting picked up 94 feet, they allowed Aaron Gordon to actually bring the ball up court. And when Aaron Gordon brought the ball up court, it made it a little bit less pressure for Jamal Murray. He could work in the half-court set, and he was able to have success with that. And when he gets it going offensively, now the defense is going to have to play up on him. And when they play up on him, that's just going to open up shots for others. MPJ, he hit 4 3-pointers, had 21 points. Jokic, he finished the night with 24 points. Aaron Gordon, 13. KCP, 12. And the Nuggets just had such good ball movement, man. And this game right here is what told me that Jamal Murray being elite on the offensive end is the X factor for them. And then came game 4, y'all. Game 4, the Nuggets tied up the series 2-2 by winning 115, 107. And honestly, this game was a blowout, to be real with you. And I was really expecting, to be honest with you, like I said, I was expecting the Nuggets to win game 3. I knew they were gonna go down 3-0. But I was expecting the Timberwolves to bounce back after getting embarrassed like that in game 3. I was expecting them to bounce back and get a big-time win in game 4. But credit to Nikola Jokic, man. Just absolutely controlled the entire game in that game 4, y'all. His IQ was on another level. If you sent the double, he was making you pay. If you didn't send the double, he was still making you pay. In 39 minutes, he finished with 35 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, 3 steals, was doing a little bit of everything, and he was everywhere. Here comes Game 5. Game 5, I'm thinking, all right, Timberwolves, they just lost the last, 2 games in a row. No way they go down, they lose again. Boom, here we go. Nuggets win again, 112-97. After being down 0-2, they bounce back and take a lead 3-2 in the series. And honestly, Jokic was an offensive juggernaut. If we thought those 35 points in 39 minutes was impressive, this Game 5, he literally made NBA history, y'all. He finished with 40 points, 13 assists. KCP, he had it going. He hit 4 3-pointers. He had 16 points. Jamal Murray had 16 points. Aaron Gordon had 18 points. But the reason that the Denver Nuggets won, besides Jokic's 40-point and 13 assist game, was their defense. Anthony Edwards, I don't think he has ever seen defense like that. Mike Malone threw the freaking book at Anthony Edwards. That boy did not know what to do. Every time he got the ball, he was getting doubled. No matter where he was on the court, he actually had his lowest scoring total for the entire series in this Game 5. And Jokic, like I said, ended up making legitimate NBA history. Became second player in NBA history to score 40 points. Also have 10 or more assists with 0 turnovers in the playoffs. And then came Game 6, y'all. In Game 6, I'm not going to spend much time on. The Timberwolves absolutely blew out the Nuggets, forcing a Game 7. I mean, the Nuggets started hot. They had 11 quick points in the first quarter. And then the Timberwolves went on a 29-5 run for the rest of that first quarter. Never lost the lead after that. Had Jamal Murray in a straitjacket. Like I told you, him being hot offensively, him being aggressive offensively is the X factor. And that brings us to Game 7. Game 7, man. This is the game we saw yesterday. Timberwolves won 98-90, and the entire team showed up. I'm talking 23 points from McDaniels, 23 points from Karl-Anthony Towns, 16 from Anthony Edwards, 13 from Rudy Gobert, 11 from Naz Reid, 10 from Mike Conley. Everybody contributed, y'all. But this game was a tale of two halves. First half, Denver Nuggets dominated. They went into halftime up 53-38. Jamal Murray had 24 points at halftime. They finished the second quarter on a 12-0 run. Anthony Edwards was nowhere to be found in that first quarter, y'all. Had 4 points, and in that first half, he was nowhere to be found. He had 4 points, and in the first half, he had took the same amount of shots as Jaden McDaniels, as Mike Conley, and as Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Respectfully, all those guys are great basketball players, but they're not Anthony Edwards. In a win-or-go-home situation, he needs to be aggressive. He needs to take over. In second half, he did just that, y'all. The Timberwolves went on a 28-9 run in the third quarter. They outscored the Denver Nuggets 28-13 in that third quarter, y'all, bringing this game within 1 point. 1 point. And I got to give so much credit to Anthony Edwards, because in that halftime, he must have told the team, yo, I got Jamal Murray. I got Jamal Murray. He not scoring no more. He not getting off no more. Them 24 points, stop right here. And they did exactly that, man. The defense that the Minnesota Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards played on Jamal Murray in that second half, especially in that third and fourth quarter, was just the biggest difference maker, man. The biggest difference maker. He honestly could not get up no shots. They forced Jokic to do this all by himself, and he tried. He had 14 points in the fourth quarter, but the Timberwolves ended up winning as a team, man, because everybody contributed, and the Nuggets got outscored 32-23 in the fourth quarter. Timberwolves move on, knock down the defending champions. Wow, I'm shook. All right, y'all, let's get to the last series here, and then after this, I will get into my Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals predictions. So we're going to talk about the Dallas Mavericks versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Mavericks ended up winning 4-2 in the series, and this was honestly one of my favorite series. Surprisingly so, because there's two other series that went to 7 games. You would think that's my favorite, but nope. I love seeing the 2 MVP candidates going at it. And they both dominated for their team. I mean, look at this graphic right here, y'all. I mean, Luka and SGA quite literally did everything for their teams. SGA led Thunder in scoring at 32 points per game. Led Thunder in rebounds at 8. Led Thunder in assists with 7.4. Led Thunder in blocks at 2.3. And for Luka, he led the Mavs in scoring with 24.7. He led the Mavs in rebounds in 10 rebounds per game. Led the Mavs in assists and 8.7 assists per game. Daniel Gafford led the Mavs in blocks, but you get the story, man. And just as I predicted, the Dallas Mavericks win the series. Let's talk about game one. Game one, y'all. Oklahoma City Thunder won game one, 117-95. And SGA definitely led the way. He had 29 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds. But this was a huge team effort, y'all. Chet, he had 19 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks. Jalen Williams, and I know there's 2 Jalen Williams on this team. The Jalen Williams I'm talking about right now is J-Dub. And to make it a little bit easier for y'all, I'm talking about the dark-skinned one, the better one, to be honest with you. He had 18 points. And the other Jalen Williams, they call him J-Will, and he's the light-skinned one. He's the one that comes off the bench, who he's still good, but he comes off the bench. But he had a big bench production this game. In 16 minutes, he had 11 points and 10 rebounds. And the X factor for me in this game, in my opinion, was Aaron Wiggins, man. Aaron Wiggins came off the bench and had 16 points. He had 4 3-pointers. The Oklahoma City Thunder bench was probably the X factor this entire game, to be honest with you. They had 42 points, while the Mavs, they struggled to get anything going. Luka had one of his lowest scoring games all series long, had 19 points, went 1 of 8 from the 3-point line. And it was clear, y'all, from game one that the length of Chet would really bother these lobs that Kyrie and Luka try to throw to Daniel Gafford and to Lively, or it was just really bothering and making it very hard for Kyrie and Luka to finish around the rim because, bro, I mean, Chet just got the biggest length, like, damn near in the NBA, bro. He's up there with Wemby, and he doesn't really have to do much besides put his hands up, and then when he jumps, it makes it impossible. I mean, you have to fillet that thing, I mean, all the way up to the sky. You gotta Stephen Curry float that thing to get it over Chet, and that made it hard, man. Dallas Mavericks just looked very frustrated in game one, had 15 turnovers, and anything that the Dallas Mavericks would do, Oklahoma City Thunder had an answer for. They went on a 14-2 run. The Oklahoma City Thunder went on a 14-2 run at the end of the fourth quarter to put them out, and they took game one. Game two, Dallas Mavericks won 119-110, evening out the series, and this game actually changed everything in the series. Not only did the Dallas Mavericks win on the road, they won in Oklahoma City Thunder, but they won without even having to throw their best punch. And what I mean by that is, look, y'all, like the Dallas Mavericks, they are at their best when Luka and Kyrie are being dominant on the offensive end, okay? But they did not have to do that in this game, and they still got the win. They still got the win, and it wasn't necessary for Luka and Kyrie to take over on the offensive end because P.J. Washington stepped up. He had 29 points, 11 rebounds. Dante Exum had 17 points. Daniel Gafford, 13. Josh Green, 11 points. And when I saw them win like this without having to throw their best punch at the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they won on the road, I said, oh, yeah. This is only a matter of time, to be honest with you. They won without even having to throw their best punch on the road. But credit to P.J. Washington, though, man. He had a rough game one, but he was able to bounce back big time in game two, was shooting the ball confidently, man. He was coming into the shots confidently, and that paid dividends, man. 29 points, 11 rebounds. And for Luka, he was doing Luka things. You know he was doing, man, 29 points, 10 rebounds, almost had a triple-double. And for OKC, you know, game one, it was slim pickings for Dallas. Game two, it was slim pickings for OKC because besides SGA and J-Dub, nobody scored more than 11 points. Game three, the Mavericks won once again, 105-101, taking a lead in the series, man. And this was the game that the Dallas Mavericks got absolutely fed up with Lou Dort. Every time Luka had the ball, every time Luka brought the ball up court, here comes a high screen, damn near a half court to free Luka. And it worked, though, y'all. It really, really worked because Luka was able to get free from Lou Dort. And when he was free from Lou Dort, man, that forced the defense to now have to rotate. And when the defense has to rotate, Luka is just making the right pass, making the right read. PJ Washington, another big game. He hit 5 3-pointers in this game. And this was also the game, y'all, that the Dallas Mavericks really started to take advantage of the Oklahoma City Thunder being so undersized when Chet's off the court. Like, when he's not on the court, they are so small. And just want to give myself some credit because earlier in the season, I said that the Oklahoma City Thunder should have used all this draft capital that they have to bring in a real big, to make a move for a real big to help Chet when he's not on the court. I mean, the Mavericks had 15 offensive rebounds in this game 3. Oklahoma City Thunder only had 5. Great back and forth game, y'all, but the story of this game ends up being the second chance points that the Dallas Mavericks had, and the Dallas Mavericks just abusing the non-Chet minutes, had 52 points in the paint. Game 4, here comes the Thunder. They get a big-time win, winning 100-96, and credit to SGA for getting the support that he needed because in game 2 and 3, he scored more than 30, got no help, and they lost the game. This game, he scores more than 30 again. He has 34 points, but he gets the help he needs. Chet has 18 points, 9 rebounds. Lou Dort, 17 points. J-Dub has 14 points, 9 rebounds. This was really a great overall team effort for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They got a big series win. But, man, what you really need to know about this game, y'all, is that Luka sold. And I love Luka. Luka's my guy. But he sold, man. Luka had an opportunity to make this series a 3-1 series, but he missed a clutch free throw that could have sent the game to overtime, and they could have finished it out in overtime, but he missed it. He missed it, and the Oklahoma City Thunder ended up going ahead and getting a dub. On the Mavs side of things, another 20-plus point game for P.J. Washington. Derrick Jones Jr., he had a big-time game, had 17 points. Luka, he had the triple-double, but he came up short with the free throw. And deeper than just that, though, because I think that, yes, Luka missed the clutch free throw, but what else did everybody else on the team not do? Who else came up short? And that's Kyrie, man. Only had 9 points in this game, y'all. Kyrie only had 9 points. Kyrie is an offensively gifted player. Get to the bucket. Get a bucket. Get to the basket. Get to the free throw line type player. And he has 9 points. Oklahoma City Thunder ends up winning by 4 points, y'all. Kyrie has been averaging 21 points in his playoffs, in 21 points per game in his playoffs so far. He only has 9 in this game. Even if he does half of what his average is, the Dallas Mavericks are able to get a win, and then they could have gone up 3-1. But Kyrie was not aggressive enough on the offensive end. And it's funny, y'all, because in Game 4, I take notes, and I noted that Luka's complaining to the refs is getting a little OD. Like, it's a little too much. You're doing too much, Luka. And it's funny because Game 5, a point of emphasis was just, Luka, just shut up. Luka, don't complain to the refs. Just play, Luka. Just play. And this time, I ain't gonna lie, he did a lot better. It was hard for him. Because he's always complaining. But he did a lot better, and everybody on the Mavs stepped up because of that, man. All 5 starters scored 11 points or more. Luka had a 30-point triple-double. Derrick Jones Jr., he hit 3 3-pointers. It all was right for the Dallas Mavericks. While for the Oklahoma City Thunder, similar to Games 2 and 3, SGA puts up 30 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, but not enough from the rest of the guys. Nobody else scored 13 points or more besides Chet. Here comes Game 6, man. Win or go home situation for Oklahoma City Thunder. And in the first half, they played like it, man. Coming into halftime, they had a 64-48 point lead coming into halftime. Right before halftime, they went on a 24-6 run. And then came the second half, y'all. Luka had 14 points in the second half. Kyrie had 18 points in the second half. Derrick Jones Jr. had 16 points in the second half. And they just took control of this game. And it came down to a wild finish, y'all. The score was 110-110. Derrick Jones Jr., big-time bucket. He hits a 3 to make it 110. to make it 113-110. Then he hits a big two, to a fadeaway two, to make it 115-110. SGA comes down court, hits a step back three to make it 113-115. Mavs end up getting a technical foul. SGA shoots a free throw, making it 114-115. SGA gets the ball, goes down court, drives, defense crashes, throws a lot to Chet. Oklahoma City Thunder takes the lead 116-115. Then, supposedly, SGA, and I'll put the picture right here for y'all, supposedly SGA fouled PJ Washington, but he clearly got the ball first, and it was a three-point attempt. So PJ Washington got 3 free throws, hit 2 of those free throws to put them up 117-116. He missed the last one on purpose because there was 2.5 seconds on the game clock, and the Dallas Mavericks won, and that means that Oklahoma City Thunder blew a 17-point lead in that second half, man, and that just speaks to their inexperience. So now we have the Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals set up and ready to go. In the West, we have the Dallas Mavericks, which was the 5th seed, going up against the 3 seed of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And in the East, we have the 1 seed Boston Celtics going up against the 6 seed Indiana Pacers. Man, oh man, big time game. And here's my prediction. Now, I ain't gonna lie. I know this video is already kind of lengthy, so I won't get into the X's and O's for my prediction. I'm just gonna give my prediction. If you guys want me to get into the X's and O's, you guys want me to talk about that, please leave something in the comment down below so I know that y'all want that, so I could work on that, so I could get something cooked up for that, and then I could talk about game plans for both teams, X's and O's, X factors, all this and all of that, man. But for my predictions in the Timberwolves series, I have Timberwolves over the Mavs in 6 games. And in the Celtics series, I have the Celtics over the Pacers in 5 games, which would mean that it'd be the Timberwolves and the Celtics in the finals. So let's see if I'm right, man. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, man. Talked about every game in every series of the second round matchup. I've had a great time. Hope you guys have had as well. Make sure to subscribe to join the family. Follow Instagram, TikTok, it's at Clutch Talk Pod. But for now, your boy is out of here. Deuces.